All right, welcome back to another episode of the Two Wheel Rider Podcast. Take two, because you got to hit that record button. Anyway, the Two Wheel Rider Podcast presented by JT Motorsports. I'm your host, Mario Orsini, joined by my co-host
Brian Blair.
We're gonna skip. No, we'll give Bob a shout out. He sent us a bottle of whiskey, but it's a very, very small bottle that we need. Rusty, who'll be over here later tonight, since they're friends and riding buddies, and they're gonna be talking about that trip. So we got to pour a gentleman Jack.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend. We've got some great guests lined up today. Can't wait to talk to them. I know one of them's got to go ride, so we're going to kind of get through this next part here kind of quick so we can get them on talking about their experiences. So at the contributor level, we have Luke Harding, we have Dylan and Alexander Marsh coming to us on Patreon. We have Bean and Leaf. At the production crew level, we have Amanda Nat from She Shall Ride, SRT AMA East Harescrambles presented by Beta, Morgan Graves on Patreon, and then at the executive producer level, we have Jordan Roberts. We'll play a quick commercial on that later so you can find out the different levels and kind of what comes along with that. So in the meantime, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by our esteemed guests. All right, we are back from that commercial break. Huge shout out to JT's for making this possible. So today we actually have three guests. They're probably some guys you never expected to have on this podcast. We've got Jack O'Corn, also known as Harley Day Rider on YouTube. We've got Bob Dean, also known as Bodine52 on YouTube, and Colin Phillips, known as Bronco Ride on YouTube. Two of the three are wearing Harley Davidson hats, so the cat's out of the bag. They all three ride Harleys.
I can't believe you have them on the podcast.
They seem like nice guys.
They do.
That's why they're on here. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thrilled to have you today. We want to kind of start out the way we do with anyone that's been on the podcast for the first time. Jack, we're going to start with you. You just luck of the draw. Give us a little bit of background, how you got started in riding, how long you've been doing it, that sort of thing.
Hey, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. I do appreciate that. All of us. It's great to be here. I started riding as a very young man, and like most of us, right, on mini bikes and riding through your yard. But then something happened called life. So I took 20 years off to raise kids. Once the last one picked up their bag and walked out the door, I walked into a Harley Davidson shop and bought a true American motorcycle, a Harley Davidson. So been enjoying it ever since. And the day I bought it, believe it or not, I watched a couple guys on YouTube and bought a camera and said, hey, I think I'm going to start doing a YouTube video for some crazy reason, but the rest is history, guys, and it's been going great. So thanks again for having us.
Cool. Bob, same question over to you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having us Harley guys on. I don't know if this is a pity party or what, but we appreciate it nonetheless. So, you know what? I did not grow up riding motorcycles. The first time I got on a motorcycle, believe it or not, when I was in college, and I had a roommate that had one, and he said, why don't you take it into campus for the day? And I started falling in love with motorcycling then, and then really didn't ride until about 5 or 6 years ago, going to visit my sister, and I saw a Suzuki C50 sitting down the street from her house for sale. And I'm like, you know what? I want to start again. So went down, talked to the guy, and ended up riding home, and that lasted 2 months. And I ended up the Harley phase. So yeah, probably been riding hard for only about 5 or 6 years now.
So a little bit of background for those maybe new to the podcast, new to the channel. I've done Colin now for, I don't know, Colin, what are we looking at? Three, 4?
Yeah, I think it was about 4 years we've known each other now.
And we've actually ridden together before. When I was down in his neck of the woods, we went out and rode, had a good day riding. And he's been out. I didn't see him at the track, but he was down there. I think it was an SXCS. I don't think it was Hangover Harescramble. One of the events they did down there. He's come down and watched some racing. So, Colin, same question over to you. How'd you get started in riding?
Again, like the other guys, thank you too for having us on today. You guys are very, very professional. Get the commercial going. That was awesome. And so we do appreciate you guys having us on. So I didn't get my first bike until 2006, but I rode some dirt bikes when I was younger. So I always had that itch to ride motorcycles. And I went through, this is dating me a little bit, and we're a little bit older than you two right here, but we went through that three-wheeler stage. So where I really wanted a three-wheeler, my parents shot that down really quick. Unfortunately, I grew up in a family that really wasn't motorcycle friendly because my sister was involved in a motorcycle accident when she was really young, and that kind of soured my parents' taste and letting me get one. But still, nonetheless, I still rode with some friends and stuff, and I always had the itch to ride. And then, as like Jack said earlier, life got in the way, starting your family, starting your career. And then I had a neighbor that we were really close, and we still are today. And he had a V-Rod, and he was always talking about how much fun this bike is. And at the time, I hadn't rode in many years, and he trusted me. Said, "Yeah, go ahead and get on. You remember everything." And I'm like, "Yeah." So I got on that, and it was amazing. I'm like, "Wow, this is a fun little bike." So after riding that for a while, he convinced me to go down to the dealership, and I started looking at bikes. Ended up buying a 2007 Dyna. It was a Fat Bob. And I absolutely loved that bike. And I had that for many years until 2016 when I decided to upgrade because I wanted to get my wife to ride more with me, and I got a Street Glide Special. Did that for about a year, then I actually upgraded again. Took a ride on the Milwaukee 8 and ended up getting a 2017 Street Glide Special, and that's the bike I have currently. And I remember you were talking about you guys were busting our chops for having Harley guys on, but Mario, you actually inspired me with the KTMs. So I've actually, that would be my second bike that if I ever get a second one, I would love to have one of those in my garage because I think you have like 20 in your garage and I have one. So
Yeah.
one day I'll be as cool as you. But that was fun. Like the day we went out and just rode around. And for those of you that don't know, I live in Southern Maryland. And so we had a great time, and it was nice meeting your whole family when we were up at that progressive show down in DC, and I met you there. So good guy. So I appreciate you two having us on today.
Thanks. And Jack, I think you kind of touched on it. How you kind of got started in YouTube. You just saw some videos and picked up a camera. Can you go into a little bit more detail on what made you decide to get into making YouTube videos?
Yeah, well, I think, whenever you're starting to research to buy something, right, we start looking around on YouTube to see who's doing what, who's using what product. Motorcycling really was not that much different. To be honest with you guys, when I walked in the Harley Davidson dealer, it used to be a Honda/Harley dealer. And I had my heart set on buying a Honda. Probably the reason is strictly price. But when I walked in, the guy said, "We no longer sell Hondas here. We sell Harleys." And my wife and I said, "Okay, well then have a great day. We'll see you later," because we can't afford a Harley Davidson. And sure enough, he said, "Yeah, you can." So that kind of worked out. But I started watching Triple X Deadhead. He was a big fan, or I was a big fan of his. Sean Smoke, watching him ride and talk. And so it just really intrigued me because I have another channel called Jack's Tech Corner. I got 22,000 subscribers over there, millions and millions of views. But I was already teaching Photoshop online and Windows Server courses online. So through that YouTube channel. So it was just a natural progression. Like if I have that, I probably, and believe it or not, I enjoy it more riding the motorcycle, just chatting to people than trying to teach you something. So a lot more fun.
How many people are on your makeup channel now?
The makeup channel is doing really, really good. If you guys never seen, that's where I have a chimpanzee. He comes in once a week and we put makeup on. Well, my wife does.
So you mentioned something about making like how-to videos, and that's one of the. I could make way more back in the garage videos than I currently do, but it takes you 2 to 3 times as long because you're having to explain the process and show all these things. Where if you just give me a set of tools, I can have the job done in 30 minutes. It may take me an hour and a half to just shoot the video, and then obviously you got all the editing and stuff afterwards.
Well, and it's funny, guys, if you look at YouTube in general, people come to YouTube for entertainment. There's a niche that come to learn something, right? But it's a very small niche. So I would do a tutorial on Photoshop, say it was 15 minutes. It would take me what? You have to basically lesson plan it. You have to look at it. You have to make sure you know how to do it exactly right. And you post that video, you'd get, 100 views in the first, 2 days. You post a motorcycle video talking about hemorrhoid cream, you're going to have 5,000 people watch it in the first hour. So you're getting a bigger bang for your buck.
Jack has a variety of stuff on his channel, obviously, as you can tell.
Makeup, hemorrhoids. Yeah.
That's right, man. No more
You know,
hemorrhoids on the
Mario,
leather seat.
that's a pretty good question. I mean, the three of us are pretty close friends, and we were texting. I'm actually doing some stage 1 work on mine, and I was doing it, and they both said, "Hey, are you putting this on video?" And I'm like, you know what? I actually just didn't want to. I don't know. You know, the time setting it up was one of those things. I don't know if that happens to you when you're doing your stuff in the garage or not. You're like, I just don't want to go through it. I just want to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, especially if I'm doing something to like one of the bikes where we're getting ready to go somewhere, or we got a race coming up, and I'm like, I'm up against the clock. I don't have that wiggle room to take the extra time to do it. I just need to get the job done. So I did that recently. I think I was doing the brakes on mine, or just, bleeding the brakes or whatever. I don't have time to do all this. And then somebody emailed me, "Hey, could you do a video on this?" I'm like, well, yeah, now I'm not up against the clock. Tyler's bringing his bike over. I know it needs it done. So now I can do it at this point. But yeah, sometimes you just need to get the job done. And I'm not always here to entertain and inform.
My video would just be chasing my kid after the tools that he was stealing and running off with. It never work.
So Bob, same question over to you. What made you decide to get into to YouTube?
You know what? It's actually that funny guy with the green shirt on. I started, I don't even know how I turned on YouTube and found Jack, Harley Day Rider, but he's probably one of the first guys that I actually watched.
Right, for the makeup tutorials.
Yeah.
Hey, are you judging me? So
Now
after
that's going to be internationally. See, people in the international motorcycle community is going to hear that now and believe that. That is not true. Anybody in the world. Yeah, just to throw that out there. That's Colin's fantasy. Padded underwear and makeup. That's his fantasy.
That's a whole different conversation question for that one, isn't it? Yeah, really, I just started watching. I think Jack mentioned it too, Sean Smokes, and I just watched a couple channels as I was getting back into riding. And Jack lived close to me, so I finally convinced him to get out of the makeup chair and meet me. And all of his wife and my wife rode. It was our first ride together. I think, Jack, I joked that I did a video back then that said I had 9 subscribers and 1 was Jack and 8 were my family. So that's really how it started. But I got to share the funniest story. So we meet at a gas station. We say hi to each other. We're getting ready to go on a ride. I don't know. It's 85 degrees out, maybe, Jack, something like that.
Yeah,
and
about that.
I of course have my gear on, and we get all our comms set and stuff, and I'm leading, and I'm pulling out of the driveway. And Jack says, "Dude, are you hot in all that gear or what?" And I'm like, "You're busting my balls, and I just met you." And that's when I knew we were going to be pretty good buddies. So
yeah, my wife smacked my shoulder and she said, "Quit being mean to him. You don't even know him yet." I said, "I will in a minute."
Yep. Enough he sticks around, right?
That's right. If he comes back.
So Colin, same question over to you. What got you started in YouTube?
I've always enjoyed photography and especially video. And then this was, around 2016, I believe I really started getting into it. So I bought my first GoPro after watching a couple these people called moto vloggers that I've never heard of before. And I started watching a couple of them. And there was a gentleman, he's still on now. His name's Freedom Rider. And now he's in Florida, but at the time he was out of Massachusetts. And then we just started chatting each other online. And he invited me to a group ride he was doing down in North Carolina from a gentleman named Kaylee 7. And this was 2016. So I went on my first group ride, with YouTube. And I met all the people that were there the first year. I think there were 9 of us, all had these little small YouTube channels. And then after that, I was hooked. I just started, recording. I was very sporadic in the beginning, but after a while, I started doing more videos, and I started doing more travel videos when we'd go down to North Carolina the first year. Then 2017, we did another trip. Then we did down by the Deals Gap, Tennessee, North Carolina area. And then the following year, went up to New York, Lake Placid. We went up, the Adirondacks. It was just beautiful. So the more I got involved with YouTube, I met so many great people, and that kind of kept me with it. I don't think I met these two until, what was it, last year, guys? I think this first time, maybe a year and a half ago, that we physically met in West Virginia when we did a ride up there. It was, I think that's why I asked you, like, how far are you away from Fayetteville? And we all met up there and had a blast. And it was like, about 20 of us guys up there, maybe 25. Yeah, and the more I do it, and that's my main gig, is just meeting people. And I met you through YouTube, Mario, obviously. And so, and that's why I love doing it. It's something that's a total hobby for me, and I just enjoy it. It's fun. I love editing. I'm one of those rare breeds that actually gets really into editing and having fun. So that's why I got into YouTube, and I'm continue to do it, because you've made some great friendships through it. And it's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think that's so cool to hear, is just all the different relationships that are built through YouTube, right? Like you meet people that you never would, and then realize you got common interest and really have a great friendship. So for me, just kind of getting started on YouTube, Mario's given me a lot of great advice along the way, but wanted to kind of pick each of your brains of if there's a one piece of advice that you'd give someone kind of starting out, or maybe something that you just learned along your path in YouTube.
Jack, we'll start with you. We'll just go in the same order.
Yeah, and you're probably going to get the pretty close answer. Like these guys said, we are pretty tied together now. We fight like brothers. we make up like brothers, and we help each other out like brothers. And we've been pretty close here lately. And matter of fact, my wife often says I spend more time talking to these guys than I talk to her, and she's in the living room. It's funny, but it's very, very true. But I've always said, if you're going to start a YouTube channel, you have to be real, and you have to be authentic, and you have to be as honest as you possibly can. You can't get on here and I can't get on here and pretend I'm Mario. Like, I'm going to go out with my my dirt bike and ride on the wood, through the woods fast, and I know nothing about that. So that would be absolutely dishonest to everybody. So, but yeah, stay real, stay honest, and be yourself. It's number one.
Great advice. Thank you.
Bob?
Yeah, I think I'd add on. I don't have a lot to add on to that, other than I think Jack is right. I think you got to be yourself. People either dig what you're doing or they don't dig what you're doing, right? I think that as we go on and been doing this, I'm a year and a half or so in, you start to do different things on your channel, right? Maybe some how-tos and touring and different stuff. So, but that really doesn't change how you are and how you handle people and how you talk on YouTube. And so for me, that's really would be my advice. And the other thing I think is ask for help, right? I mean, Jack helped me when I first got started. And now that my channel's gotten a little bit bigger, I get a ton of people that ask me for help, and I give it because it's pay it back, right? So, but I say do it. If you're thinking about starting a channel and you're getting going, do it. Be patient.
Yeah, why not? I mean, absolutely. My biggest thing, besides what you two already said, I completely agree with that, being real and authentic. Be resilient. You have to be resilient. You have to know, like, sometimes it's not going to work out on a video. Don't take it personal. Learn from it, and you got to have thick skin when you're on the internet. So if you're not going to have everybody that just comes flocking to your channel and saying, "Oh, I love you," they're not. We're all small channels, and that's okay. We want to, get out there and enjoy what we're doing, and it's all around two wheels. So I say resiliency is really important, because some people that don't have thick skin can lose their confidence quickly. And so they need to ensure that, they have that mindset where you're always growing, you're always evolving no matter what, and you're always trying to improve what you're doing. And that's what it's all about.
I think that's all great advice. And Bob, something you mentioned, you start doing different things on your channel. I remember, I started out my channel and I had a Yamaha FJR 1300, and then I bought a KTM. And I actually had some people email me and go, "I can't believe you bought another motorcycle. I'm only following you because you ride a Yamaha." And I was like, the whole purpose of this was that I'm traveling places. The motorcycle is just a tool. It's not, the entire makeup of the channel. It's just, this is what I'm riding now. If somebody makes something better, then I'll ride that. And Colin, what all you guys said, just be yourself. I'm guilty of saying some things that have, ruffled some feathers. I had a mention in a video. To me, it was a throwaway comment because I was frustrated that, with everything going on, we couldn't travel as much. And I just saw a guy that looked like Anthony Fauci, and I just said I'd like to punch that guy in the face. And he got a bunch of comments. But I was like, guys, at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything. Like it's just we're
all around two wheels.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's going to say something you don't agree with wholeheartedly. That was 3 seconds in a 20-minute or 18-minute long video or whatever. But Colin, you're right. You definitely got to have some thick skin, because some of these posters, I don't know where these people live other than their mother's basements. But and Bob, what you said about offering to help people, I just throw this in. You're 100% right. I get people to reach out all the time. Just tip for anyone thinking of starting a channel: don't go on and spam your videos in someone else's comment section. Just shoot an email. We'll help out. Like, it's fine if you send me an email link and go, hey, will you check this out? Yeah, sure, I will.
The whole great video. You should watch my video.
Exactly. That's just that's frustrating. So next question. You guys this is a question we had on here, and you kind of already answered it, how you ended up on Harleys. Have you guys ridden anything else? Like, I know Bob said he had this, would you say it was a C90?
Yep.
Boulevard. Have you guys ridden anything else since you got back into riding? Just curious. Jack?
A lot of demos. I mean, I love the Yamaha. Is it the Grand Tour Adventure? Some big name.
I know what you're talking about.
I think it's an awesome bike. I mean, it was fun to ride. It's got reverse, electric windshield. I demoed that. I also demoed a lot of Indians. I love the Indian line. I think they're almost overpriced above Harley. I mean, they're trying to put themselves as, we are the #1 best motorcycle in the world, and you're going to pay us for it, So they are more pricier than Harleys. But what else have I ridden? There was another demo we went to. It might have been a couple Hondas, and I do want to get on the new Honda Goldwing just to check it out. I can't buy one because there's not enough luggage space for myself and my wife to tour, so it's not going to work out. But and I'm not one to pull a trailer, so I'll just let it go with that.
And you'd have to change the YouTube name, so
you have to change it to Harley Goldwing, Dave.
Yeah, that was kind of a mistake when I named my channel. But I don't know. I should have been smarter when I named the channel. I don't know, like something like Jack's Rides or something.
I've just pigeonholed myself that I can't get a trike. I have to stay on 2 wheels.
I think you're good for a while.
Yeah, I think I'm all right. So Bob, over to you. Other than when you first got back into riding on the street, have you ridden anything else since then, whether it's demos or trying out buddies' bikes or anything?
Yeah, no, actually not a lot. I mean, obviously I had Suzuki for 3 or 4 months, right? And I have an Ultra Limited, and I have a Road King Classic now, so I actually have 2 Harleys. But I'll tell you what, I am totally open to that. I will tell you that I would like to get a used adventure bike to try that for a while, right? So I really haven't, but I'll tell you what, I got shirts that don't say Harley on them too, right? So I don't care what you ride as long as you like it and the bike's good, and so I'm open to it. But I think the next one would be a used adventure bike, and obviously that's not going to be a Harley.
Colin, over to you.
I've only been, I've sat on a couple, but I haven't actually taken any demo rides like Jack has with the Indian and a couple other manufacturers, but I definitely want to. I've been on the DRZ 400. I took a ride on that. That was fun when I was being shown how to ride on dirt bikes again. And I think that's the only bike I've been on besides my Harleys in the last through 5-6 years.
Oh, wow. So what draws you all to the Harley? What do you enjoy about it?
Honestly, for me, I think with the Harley Davidson is, at least in the area I live in, there's so many people that have them. There's so many people that we're connected with through the hog chapters, through group rides, and sometimes I almost feel, and I brought this up at our hog chapter meetings, it's kind of snobbish, because if a Yamaha guy comes in, they'll say, you can't ride with us. It kind of reminds me of like being in grade school and a kid comes in with the wrong lunchbox. You're like, you can't sit at our table. I think it's ridiculous. But that is the way they handle those hog rides. So, but yeah, that's kind of what pulled me in again, guys. I mean, I wanted a Honda Shadow. I walked in and came out with a Harley Sportster at the time. So that's kind of what led me to Harley Davidson. I would have never even dreamed I would be able to ever afford one. But there's a lot of ways to buy bikes, guys.
Yep.
For me, I hate to say it, but actually I decided to get back into riding I went through the Harley safety training, right? So that's when they start the brainwashing, right? Right there. So, and I actually did take that course before I bought the Suzuki, but I think I just naturally thought that, hey, I should go get a Harley now. I mean, it's the brands out there everywhere. There's dealerships out there everywhere. I guess now for me, and one of the reasons that I bought an older bike is I just think that I like the iconic look, right? So for me, out of all the stuff about whether it's touring or whatever it says on the side, I've always just preferred the look of the Harley.
All right.
And mine's similar. I think at the end of the day, I mean, there are so many bikes out there, different manufacturers that have more power than Harley. We all know that. You guys are riding them right now. You know, they're with much more power, much more technology. You know, they have technology that Harley doesn't have. One day, hopefully, they will, and we all sit around and laugh about it. But ultimately, it fits me. I think that the Harley just fits my style. I mean, I'm not like this guy that's got this huge beard with tattoos that goes around. That's not what I'm talking about. It just like when I get on that bike, it fits me, it suits me, and I felt that when I first got on that Dyna. And I feel that way now. I just enjoy it, you know, and I love the look of it. I really enjoy the look of it, just getting on and, you know, enjoying life. You know, the more I ride, the more different styles I want to try. And that's where I want to, you know, Bob mentioned and alluded to it earlier. I'd love to get into adventure riding. I think that's why I wanted to, looking at the KTMs, I would love to have those type of trips like you do, Mario, you know, like the different aspects you do when you do your long motorcycle trips. I think that's awesome. You know, and watching other videos that are out there, and that really intrigues me. So it's not specifically just Harley, and you guys might agree with this. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of people, well, not a lot, but I'd say there's a good chunk of people that are so Harley snobs. They're kind of stuck in their ways, and I don't dig that. You know, it's like you got to be open to different things and trying different bike manufacturers, different aspects of riding. And to me, it's two wheels are two wheels. You know, I know that's a cliche statement, but it's true.
Yeah, but you also have like 50 Harley shirts and all Harley hats. So I mean, what would you?
I have like 10 Harley shirts, man. That's it.
Mario, you have a Harley shirt, don't you?
I do. Somebody mailed me one. I have it. It's got a wolf or something on it, isn't it?
Have you ever put it on?
Yeah, I wore it for a video one time.
Yeah.
For what it was about, but
he had to grease his bike in it.
And it was tough for me. Now, granted, I've owned, I don't know, 6, 7 different manufacturers, but I got a lot of KTM shirts. It was tough for me to go buy that Husqvarna because I'm like, crap, I got to buy new stuff now. I need a Husqvarna hat and T-shirt, exactly. Even though they're made on the same assembly line. Right, but so guys, we're gonna throw out one last question to you, and then we're gonna take a quick break. Favorite places? Well, we'll just keep it to one place unless you got a couple that pop up on top of your head. But favorite place you've ridden, and that could be the journey itself or the destination. Jack, we'll start with you.
We took three years ago when we first started touring. We were both very, very nervous of this one, but our friends wanted to go out to Sturgis in Wyoming, out to that area. And this was 2 weeks before Raleigh because they don't like crowds. And like I said, we were very nervous. First time we ever took a trip. We didn't even know what to pack. But, you know, we got on the bike and we went on that trip, and it was just amazing. And I have to say, if you go all the way out to Wyoming, go to Devil's Tower, I think you're going to have a blast. Sturgis, I would go there either before or after the rally because we were still able to buy the merchandise and have a great time. So that was our number one trip. It was 13 days. It was 4 days out, a ton of days riding. And then we took 3 days out, ton of riding, and 4 days back just to take our time to get back home. So, but yeah, it was a good time. I say get out there and tour if you've never done it. And if you're scared, you know what? Put that in the back pocket somewhere. Just jump on the bike. And I always say, point the bike into the wind and turn the throttle.
I think, Jack, plus when you go out early, I bet you enjoy it a lot more too because a ton less traffic.
There's no traffic on all those roads, right? You can ride anywhere. The restaurants aren't all packed. Now, there's a lot of things, believe it or not, guys, that's not open in Sturgis until the rally. Some people make their entire living that 1 week for the whole entire year. So they open a store what they call those pop-ups. They make all their money and they're gone. They're not there anymore. So,
Bob, for you?
Yeah, you know what? I haven't done a lot of touring with my wife yet. That's definitely in the plan and planning on summer stuff for next year. But I think from a ride and meeting folks and the guys. I mean, Colin mentioned that we started 3 of us talking about doing this little. We called it a motor vlogger meetup. It was Jack, myself, and a guy named Bruce, D-Best 1A, and then Colin ended up joining us. And we just talked about, let's 3 all meet. Maybe we'll meet a couple folks. I know that, Mario, you got one, I think, that's coming out here where you have a ride planned.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up having 30 people show up, which now it was down in Fayetteville. And it was interesting because we went from, hey, let's get together. We all have some beers and dinner out, and we'll go for a ride the next day, to honestly, with their 30 people, it's stressful, right?
Yeah, it is.
I wanted to make sure everybody was safe, right? We had somebody that had, what the map was going to look like. And so I was one and done there. So I think that was cool to go to. I think the 3 of us just rode the Allegheny Mountains in Pennsylvania about a month ago, which was just a lot of a guy fun, acting like idiots at night and that type of stuff. So still a lot of touring to do, but those are the type of rides I like best, meeting a bunch of guys and going riding, as long as it's not a huge group.
Mario, you inspire me, man, with all the stuff you've done. I would love to be able to do that. My favorite by far, and I think it's underrated, was when I went up to Vermont and New Hampshire and the New York area. Upper New England is incredible. I mean, the views out in Vermont are just insane. New Hampshire, Vermont area, and then heading over to New York with the Adirondacks. It's phenomenal riding, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And the year before, I was down over in Deals Gap and Robbinsville and back of the Tail of the Dragon, and that was fun. I mean, a lot of great roads, but the scenery. I love scenery. I love going out and just enjoying the areas that I'm riding in. Up north really surprised me. I had no idea and didn't expect it would be that beautiful of a ride. It's kind of like when you went to Alaska, when up there, and how incredible the views are up there. I'm a mountain guy, so I love touring in mountains. I want to go out west. I grew up there, but I want to ride all the way in Colorado, Rocky Mountain National Park, all those areas. So that's my next goal, is to get out there, take a couple weeks off and ride out there. But by far, New England area.
All right, cool. So guys, we're going to take about a 1.5, 2-minute break. So if you need to refill your beverage or run to the restroom, whatever. And then when we get back, we'll wrap this thing up. So we'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, we're back from that quick commercial break. So I don't know how far back it's going now. It's probably been over a month ago. You guys invited me on something you guys started doing a few months back, the Fireside Chats, which is a YouTube live stream you guys do at 6 p.m. Eastern time each Sunday. So just kind of curious, what got you guys started in doing that? How'd that come to be?
That was kind of funny, and it's if you look back, I was sitting with my wife at the dinner table one night back in March.
You said, I'm tired of talking to you. I want to talk to my friends and a bunch of strangers.
No, actually, she brought up, because I used to do live streaming classes online, and she goes, "Can't you do that live streaming stuff with maybe Bob, and talk about motorcycle stuff and kind of related?" And I was texting Bob, and somehow Colin texted, "How come nobody ever invites me to any of this cool stuff?" And we started talking to Colin. He goes, "I'd like to do something cool like that too." So he brings his really cool lunchbox over to our table, and we let him sit down. and kind of after that, the rest was kind of history, huh, guys? We kind of blew it up. But yeah, we've been doing this since March.
Wow.
Dude, you just killed Colin's ego.
Oh man,
he's not.
That's not how it happened.
We love you like an equal brother, man. Don't worry about it.
He has a cool lunchbox, man. He came over and we said, "Hey, buddy."
It's been cool. I think we've been doing this 4 or 5 months, guys, and it started with just the 3 of us talking, and now it's not huge, but we'll have 60, 70, 80 folks on that are pretty consistent every Sunday, and I'll let Colin tell you who's on this week, but we've had some pretty cool guests like you, Mario, and some other folks. It's giving a lot of people exposure, and we've met a lot of people through it. So, and that's what this YouTube thing's been for us, is meeting a whole lot of friends and talking about motorcycles.
Yeah, I mean, our whole intent was just to have fun. I mean, and we wanted to keep it under an hour, and we just kind of came up with the time on Sunday night, and it's been great. I mean, we've enjoyed it, and kind of, you know, similar to probably you two. And as you do this podcast, you kind of feed off each other. You kind of learn each other's quirks and stuff, and we have fun. I mean, that's what it's all about. And I love having the guest on. I love being interactive with everybody in the side chat. And our format's pretty simple. I mean, we come up with a couple questions for all of us, and then if we have a specific guest on, and, you know, when Mario were on, I think we did the same thing with you. We had specific questions around you, and then we do what we call a rapid fire, which we do about anywhere from 10 to 15. Sometimes motorcycle related, sometimes not. Usually they're not, just to kind of have fun. It's not all about motorcycles. I'd say probably 75% of it is, but it's more about just us enjoying life and just sharing it with everybody.
And your stalker. Colin has a stalker.
I have a stalker. Yes, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, what's she called? Big Butt and Blue Jeans or something?
Blue Bike Girl, I think is her name.
Which every time she comes on, I'll say, Colin, your mom's on again, talking about how great you are.
No, I had a good time being on with you guys, and it was neat because you guys run it very professionally. I like the fact that you keep it to about that hour, because there's a lot of live streams out there that'll go on for 2.5, 3 hours. You know, I can't. But the other thing I liked about it is I had some of my friends tune in, and I think they were just looking to see, because with the podcast, I mean, we can edit this. With the videos, I can edit that. And I think they were just looking, can he actually talk that long without screwing up too much? I think that's why they were tuning in. But
That, or maybe we just wanted to see what you'd say about Harleys.
Well, we had some fun that night. So
No, I really enjoyed watching it. I thought you all have great chemistry. And I think, you know, you mentioned this, Colin, that it's kind of funny. Same thing with the podcast. It's like when you just start talking about bikes, it's crazy how easy things kind of just flow, and it's just conversations with your buddies.
Exactly.
Especially this might get us through winter a little better when you can't ride.
sure.
Exactly. That's the hardest part, right? The wintertime, getting through that.
Yeah.
The question is, how do you
keep
stop
people
doing it now? How do you stop doing it now? That's the challenge. I mean, Colin's got a job that's going to make it difficult for him in the winter, right? So it's like you guys, how long you go, right?
Well, that's the hardest part, I think, with just same thing with us both working and then trying to fit this in, and, you know, all the other crazy stuff with life. It's definitely difficult to find the time to get everything in, but somehow we make it work.
Well, we're gonna need Mario to cut us some commercials, and he needs to cut us some Patreon stuff so we can get some money, and then it'll make more sense.
Listen, you guys
There
want
you
me to
go.
do some voiceover work for you? I'll record those for you.
All right.
See that?
You got
That's
it.
great.
So with the Fireside chat, is there any guest that's been your favorite, or maybe just something that you've learned through doing these that really kind of helped, or just
Something that just surprised you.
yeah. Yep.
Jack, you want to start with you?
Yeah, I think the first thing that surprised me, like you guys said, is the first thing that surprised me was how much chemistry we had together. Even when we went away on our little group ride, it's more like we're not friends anymore. We're almost like brothers. I mean, it's kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the part of it. I think that's why people keep coming back each week. And like Bob said, we usually get guests a lot of time, Mario, not like you. We get guests that have like 60 subscribers, and they're just trying to build a presence, and we try to help them along. So I think that's the joy of it, really.
My favorite guest was Mario, for sure.
Is he just that because we invited him on the podcast?
Yeah, see
that's
how
the only
that is?
reason.
You know what? I think the one thing that I learned after probably 4 or 6 weeks is we had a bunch of middle-aged Harley riders. So we started to at least, and we switch it every week, who hosts it or not, and whose channel is on. Started to invite some lady bikers, and now I would tell you, maybe even 25% of the folks that are on every Sunday night are friends of ours that are female riders, and I think that's been helpful. And it's kind of like they're sisters, right? We're all in this together, and to me that's been the fun part of seeing that Sunday night thing grow.
Well, that's really cool to hear, because I think a lot of times when you look at the statistics, at least for motorcycle,
That's one of the largest during markets. And by the way, if you guys ever need female riders, we know some. And if you guys need guests or whatever, we help you out with that. We know some chicks that are fast. We actually just had my sister on earlier because she just went cross country with me, so I'm sure she'd love to come on and hang out with you guys for an evening. We got some other people too, so just shoot me a message offline, and
sure.
You guys get one of those weeks where you're like, crap, we don't have anybody lined up. Let me know. We can probably get somebody lined up for you.
Great.
Awesome, thank you.
Very cool.
Colin, anything interesting you've learned? Anything that kind of sticks out? Anybody you had on and you're like, wow, I didn't expect it to go.
I don't know if I have a favorite guest, and I'm not just saying that to play it safe. I mean, I think everybody we have has been really solid. It's cool that you get someone that's never, like I've done like a podcast before, but if you have somebody that is not very experienced with like talking in a forum, and everyone's done great. And everyone's just been really down to earth and enjoying it and kind of feeding off. And, we just look at people and say, you know what, this person seems like a great individual. Let's invite him on. It's been a variety, and we mentioned this earlier, it's been a variety of different people from different brands of bikes. We've had several Goldwing riders. I think Memphis Mike, McKaylee7 was on there. Last couple weeks ago, we had Bob with Indians. It's cool that you get to meet people that are very similar in nature to you, and then like you've never met them before, and you just kind of get online and have a blast. And I enjoy that. Of course, a couple of the guests we have had on, that I know personally, but most of them we don't. I'd say 75, 80% of them are the people that we've met through obviously YouTube, but we don't really communicate that much compared to like the three of us. It's been real, and it's just kind of like what we alluded to earlier with being on YouTube and being honest with yourself and being realistic and being truthful. And that's what these live streams are all about. And it's cool that we can feed off each other and enjoy what we do. And hopefully we continue to do it for a while, because I think originally when we talked, we were like, we'll see how long this lasts. And all of a sudden, then, we got to keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. We're enjoying the hell out of this. And that's the favorite part, is like, we enjoy the hell out of doing this stuff. And it's cool. I look forward to doing it now weekly. I really do.
I think it's a big thing for us. We've had a lot of people on the podcast. I don't really know how to talk like you guys do. And then, an hour later, they're like, an hour just went past. And we're like,
yeah,
you're just sitting here talking about what you like to talk about. It's pretty easy. So speaking of guests, Jack, we'll start with you and just go around the horn like we have been. If you could get any guest on your Fireside chat, who would it be and why?
Well, one I've been trying to get to, and he's been snubbing me. I don't know why. So I'm going to fly out to Washington and knock on his door. That would have to be Sean Smoke. Why? Because my wife absolutely adores his voice, and I think if we had him on the show for an hour, she might watch the whole entire Fireside chat. So that is why I want to get him on.
Good answer, Bob.
You still taping his voice when he's on, Colin or Jack, to play it later for her?
I do, and I played it in the evening, and she listens to it. Yeah.
You know what? I watched this girl. Her name, she goes by Itchy Boots, and
Norley.
I like her. She rides everywhere. She rides in places that probably the five of us wouldn't go from a danger perspective. She's got the coolest channel. There's just something about her that I love.
Okay. Colin,
do you guys watch her?
Yes.
Itchy Boots.
I haven't. To be honest, I don't watch a whole lot of YouTube these days, just from a time standpoint. I've heard a lot of good things about her. I think I've got her like bookmarked for watch later. I just haven't.
She's very enjoyable to watch. If Jack said, and it was funny, kind of like, and I didn't even know this. Jack mentioned earlier the first person he watched in YouTube, or at least got into it, and I was a big fan of his. Unfortunately, he still posts once in a while. He did a video, but that's Triple X Deadhead. I'd love to have him on. That guy just seems really cool, based out of California, because I think he did a video a couple months back, Jack, and I haven't seen too much from him, but he took a couple years off, but I've always been a fan of his. I'd love to have him on.
The funny thing about him, if you watch his stuff, when he had kids, he wanted to try to drop that triple X, like X-rated.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, was his torment of taking himself down. Because how do you rebrand? He was huge,
Yeah.
Stuff. So I texted Mario this week, and like I said, just dabbling in YouTube, but I got my first kind of negative comment, and around my kids 85, I put them on there, and the comment was like, why KX85 goes 90 miles per hour? Why would you put your 10-year-old kid? And I texted Mario, I said, look, I made it. I got my first negative comment.
Nice.
So leading into the next question, do you all have kind of your most interesting story or comment that you've gotten on YouTube?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always a few, and like you just said, I think you said that right. When you start getting negative comments, believe it or not, you finally made it. I get this problem now with these people posting their porn videos in my comments, trying to get people to go over and click on the link, and it's horrifying, and I don't know why YouTube can't stop that.
I'll stop.
What's that?
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
I thought I deleted
guys.
that comment.
See, I can always count on these two guys for something, even the bad,
Yeah.
But no, ordinarily I tell people, when you get a negative comment, I don't have time in my life to argue or discuss negativity with people, so I just delete them out. And then I've learned if you mark them as being abusive, or is that abusive, or
there's a report tab on there.
Yeah, so I report them. That way they can't comment on anybody's videos on YouTube any longer. So they have to rename themselves, and I really don't give a crap about that. So, but
Bob, anything from you? Good, bad, different, good YouTube story?
Yeah, you know what? I don't get a ton of them. That probably means I'm not testing the boundaries enough. Is probably the why. But I had one guy. I think I texted Colin after this. He just said, "I can't stand your voice anymore."
Thanks for listening, buddy.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, what do you? I wanted to call the guy and go, "Are you freaking kidding me? Come on, right?" But that was it.
I'm sorry, Bob, but I hear you at night too, and I'm sorry.
Is that between the Sean Smoke stuff you got going on?
That was one of Jack's other channels, I guess. That was his
other channel.
Yeah.
No, I don't like it when people make it personal. I've had a couple, and few and far between, but you still get the dicks out there that make something personal and judge you. And, similar to what you said earlier, Mario, on, making a judgment on an 18-second clip that you said on a 20-minute video. It's when people are that sad and pathetic where they're going to take it out on you and just by, judging you. I can't stand that, but I don't honestly have time for them. I'm like you, Jack. I just like, all right, fine. Block them, and I'm gonna keep who I am. I'm a pretty laid back dude, so if somebody doesn't like me, what are you gonna do?
Well, the other day, because I think it was Thursday, so we're recording this on a Sunday. It'll probably go up a few weeks from now, but on Thursday I announced the Wild and Wonderful Weekend trip, which is about as inargumentative as you can get. Like, I'm inviting people to come ride with me. And there was a guy from Australia that commented something about how the United States sucks and don't reelect our president and we're killing everything. And I didn't see it until like an hour later. And the nice thing about having at least a decent sized audience is sometimes they chime in on
argue for you. Yeah.
And that's happened a few times. That's just the latest example. And then I almost feel bad for the commenter where I want to come in and go, "Hey, you said the wrong thing. I don't dislike you. Like, that's okay, but sorry for what happened after this, even though, I had no control over it."
Now, Mario, I don't know if I think she's just a Harley girl or guy, but Bob, I had to bring this up because we haven't heard from Samantha in a long time, but there was this one troll that her name was Samantha, and she would always post on our videos, and a lot of guys are at Harleys. I don't know if she ventured over to your side, but said, "Could you please wear blue jeans in your next video and leather?" So she actually, and they had to be Levi's, right, Bob? So they actually had to be Levi's, and you had to be in leather, and she'd get pissed. And so then we'd start getting, we think it's a he, by the way, but so we start trolling her and having fun with her, Bob and I, on comments and stuff, and saying, "Yeah, we'll do it. We promise. We'll wear Levi's." And she actually took it seriously.
Until he said, "Are you screwing with us?" And then Kyle, you remember she said, "If you do, can you make sure that you videotape it and go into a 77?"
Oh yeah, she had to be.
I'm like, dude, there's something wrong here, but now I'm intrigued, right?
Couldn't believe.
Oh, sorry. We got one last question for you, and then Jack, we're gonna let you throw a leg over your bike and go get some riding in, and we'll start with you. I know we're still a ways out. Hopefully next year everything's quote unquote back to normal. Jack, do you have any trip plans for 2021? Anything you're maybe it's not in stone, but something you're looking forward to possibly venturing out and doing?
We are looking at next year of leaving probably in June, and I don't know how hot it's going to be, but we want to leave here and go to the West Coast. We're going to ride Route 66, and it's looking like it's probably going to be at least a 3, if not a 4-week trip vacation.
Oh,
So, but I hope that everything is open by then, because I want to go out 66 to the West Coast, but I'm not coming home that way. I want to come home another way.
Okay.
And I may just venture up and see my old buddy Sean smoke and say, hey, pal, you got to get on this Fireside Chat thing. It's it's one of those great things that you've never ventured into. But
who's gonna have the bail money ready for this guy trespassing?
Yeah, Jack, the restraining order means you can't go by his job.
Yeah.
You're a stalker.
But the thing is, if you're posting 7 videos a day, he's busy enough. He posts every single day.
Wow.
So, and I think that's saying a lot. So I probably won't stalk him down, but that's our trip plan. But like you said, if things open, we went on a 4-day trip this year, and the hotels are absolutely horrible. You can't get a free breakfast. You can't get clean towels. They won't clean your room. It's not worth it. And they don't give you a discount. So
Get
don't think you're
west
getting
of
20%
Mississippi.
off for that. What's that?
Get west of the Mississippi, but not too far west. Like
Is that
not
what it is?
Coast, and it was fine.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Bob,
I was going to go ride the mountains in the Carolinas with the 3 of us and our brides, but apparently Jack's not going to be there. So Colin and myself and
Yeah,
my
I
wife
noticed that. He
Hey,
eliminated us real
I'm off for
quick.
3 months, guys. I got a lot of vacation time.
are gonna do something like that in June. I think Colin just made some additional additions to his bike, so now we're gonna try to get all the wives together that are now friends, and that causes a whole lot of different problems that us married guys know that they're all good friends. So so hoping to do that, do the tail. And then, I've moved back to Michigan here for just about a year, and believe it or not, I've never rode in the UP of Michigan, which is some amazing riding up there. So I'm planning on doing that whole trip.
cool. Sounds fun. Colin?
I would love to go. I actually don't have anything solid planned right now, but I would love to go down to the Ozarks actually and ride in that area. Some
Nice.
beautiful country out there. But Jack and Bob and I have been throwing around some ideas about doing a group ride next year with the wives and taking some time off and riding out west. Don't know if I'll be able to go all the way to California because I don't have a month off like you do. But
I got
probably
3 months. Man.
3 months, yeah. So I'm probably gonna take like a 2-week long ride because how far is it out to Colorado from here? Like 3 days, I believe. I would love to ride out there and then ride back and spend a couple days there. That's
We could do that with you, brother. We want to be a group.
That'd be the ultimate goal.
Group hug. Bring it in.
Group hug.
So cool, guys. We appreciate it. Is there anything else you guys want to cover, plug before we wrap up?
No, we just want to plug our Patreon page. Go over to our Patreon at patreon.patreon.patreon and leave a $25 donation. No, we don't have that. So, but
We don't have
man,
merch.
thank you so much for having us on. We really appreciate it, man. Thanks for being on our channel. I know when I asked you originally, you're like, no, dude, I don't know you. Colin calls you up and you're like, yeah, man, I'll be right there.
This is the case. You asked for me for a weekend. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm racing that weekend. I'm gonna be driving back from
No, I think it's when did you go to Costa Rica or something? You were somewhere.
Yeah. I did go down to Costa Rica.
Yeah, you were away, so I'm gonna let you slide on that one since you invited us on your cool show here, and gave us our break on stardom. But thanks, guys, I appreciate it, and hopefully, maybe we can have you back around the Fireside Chat one day.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Did anybody notice there's a lot of people turning Jack down as a guest? Sean Stokes, Mario,
Colin, just send Sean an email. I'm sure he can get him up next week.
Jack, you should program Mario's phone number in your cell just in case he offered for a guest. No, you know what? Hey, we appreciate you being on, having us on, and like we said, for those people that are just getting started in this, and we can help in any way. We'd love to have them sit in the Fireside Chat. I think that people would have fun and learn a little bit and meet a whole bunch of new people, new friends, and talk motorcycles and have a few cocktails.
Cool, and I will link each of your all's YouTube channel down in the show notes of this podcast, and if we end up posting it up on YouTube, I'll put it down in the description. Colin?
I'm going to first give you two some recognition on your podcast. Very well done, very professional, especially your voiceovers, your little commercials that you do. I mean, it's doing a podcast. Sometimes, it's a lot goes into it. So you guys do a really good job, and hats off to you. And I wish you the most success with this going forward. The only thing I want to kind of say is just from the Fireside Chat, we rotate it weekly, between our channels. So between the three, Harley Day Rider, Bodine 52, and Bronco Ride, make sure you come by and check us out. It's all, like what Bob said, it's all about growing the community and having fun and enjoying life. So thank you guys for having us on. We really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. We're going to do a quick outro, and then we'll close out with you guys here in just a second. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. If you did and you're watching on YouTube, if we ever put it up there, give it a big thumbs up. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, please give us whatever the top rating is on that podcast platform. If you have any questions about what these guys went over today, like I said, I will link their YouTube channels down in the show notes. If you got questions specific to me and Brian, head on over to the Two Wheeled Rider Facebook page, or just send me an email at twowheeledrider.com@gmail.com. That's twowheeledrider.com, all spelled out, @gmail.com. I think that's it, Brian. So as always, thank you for joining in on the Two Wheeled Rider podcast. I'm your host, Mario Orsini, joined by my co-host,
Brian Boyer.
We'll talk to you guys again soon. Hey guys, thanks so much for being on. I hope you guys had a good time. So
We did.
Yeah, that was a riot, man. Thanks, guys.
yeah.
Hey, how much bourbon do you guys drink when you're recording these all day?
So to be fair, we didn't drink any of the first one.
Our very first episode.
Yeah, that was
sober.
the first time we'd ever done it totally sober. The second one, we did have one. This one I had like 1.5, and then we got 2 more to go. So
Trying to pace ourselves today.
and we're drinking plenty of water today because you can't do this many. And
A lot of talking.
Yeah.
Do you have after the 4 o'clock one? Do you guys have one more, or is this the fourth last one?
It's whenever my buddy Rusty gets over here. He just finished his first big cross country trip, but he's probably going to be a few minutes late. So assuming this live stream that we do at 4 doesn't get too late, we'll probably hop in. Whose channel's the Fireside Chat on this week?
Mine.
Okay, cool. We'll try to hop on there, at least in the chat room there for a couple minutes.
Cool.
Yeah,
Very cool. No, we appreciate it, guys. Now, what is this? How does this work? Are you going to edit it, or you just go straight up?
There'll be a little bit of editing that goes in, but not much. It's very little because we kind of shoot it as a live show. So if I missed a button here or there, I may get back in, but I'll basically just listen to it once. If I got to make a couple of small changes, I will. This will probably, if Brian and I get back together again in a week or two and do like another 4 or 5, we may turn this thing into weekly here very, very shortly.
But I think that's the hard part, right? If you have an hour podcast, even just listening into it once, that's an hour right there.
It takes a win. But this will go up in a few weeks. When it does, I'll message you guys on Facebook and just say, hey, it's going up such date. Because the order we shot them in today or recorded them in today is not necessarily the order they're going to go up. For instance, that live stream will go up on Wednesday because it's topical to the Wild and Wonderful Weekend event that's coming up in like 2-3 weeks. So that one will go up first, and then we'll kind of – the other thing is we get different guests on. Like we did 2 like touring ride podcasts today. Well, you guys will probably go in between those because your all's is something different. We don't want to do the same topic even if it's different guests, like three podcasts in a row. So
Yeah.
All right. Makes sense.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.
This is great.
Who's on the Fireside Chat tonight?
Baggers and Brews.
Okay.
They're out of New Jersey. It's 3 guys. They're actually, and 3 guys share one channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 girls.
Yeah.
They're actually pretty cool guys, and they went to Sturgis, so it's on my channel tonight. So we just, I mean, I've met them through YouTube, but they seem like really down to earth guys.
Cool.
Just listening to them.
They drink a lot. They
Sean-
drink a lot and talk about motorcycles.
That sounds like the great people.
Sounds
right
like my
there.
town of people right there.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
They're good. Yeah, they're good guys.
Yeah, they're really cool guys.
Hey, Colin, one quick thing. So I'm doing that. What's the name of that website you guys use for your live streaming? Is it Yard or
StreamYard.
StreamYard? So do I just go live on there and it'll automatically link up with? I mean, I've scheduled it for the YouTube page. It just automatically kicks up on YouTube then.
Well, you got to schedule it through.
It is scheduled. Yeah.
Through StreamYard.
Yep.
Okay, then yeah, it'll kick on the YouTube page.
Okay. All right.
It'll be live there now. It won't, depending on how long it is. I mean, it has to process. So then it'll go on your your channel. Normally ours take like 12 hours to process, but people can still see it.
Yeah.
You'll still get the notification. Two Wheel Rider is now live.
Okay.
And that's the most important, is you'll see all that, but the live chat and all the comments won't show up till it processes.
Okay. All right. Makes sense.
So if somebody misses it, they'll watch it. They'll have to only watch it through notification or when it pops up on your channel.
And the one thing we've agreed to do over the past so many shows is we don't monetize that at all. But if you do want to monetize, then you have to go to YouTube when it processes and, check them on as monetize it, or if you want to do that. But
all right, cool. Well, we'll give it a shot tonight. See, I say it tonight, like less than an hour from now. Jesus.
Hey, appreciate your time, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, have a good day.
All right,
I'll talk to you guys later. We'll see you guys in a couple hours.
All right.
Sounds good.
Bye.